Okay, hello guys. Welcome to the Zambia the Creatives podcast, a newly introduced podcast on the Science Exploration Zambia YouTube channel as promised. So we are back with an exciting podcast, which is going to be available on our YouTube channel maybe after 2 weeks or after a week. Episode. The podcast is titled Zambia of the Creatives. So I'm going to be featuring Hamlet and Kalonde, but I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. So I'm going to start with Hamlet's a bit of introduction to the public.
All right. My name is Hamlet Mukuwe. It's third year, going into fourth year electrical engineering student at Delhi Technological University in India. Yeah. So yeah, that's about it.
Okay. So Kalonde, man.
Okay, my name's Kalonde Chanda. I am graduating student under chemical and process engineering in Turkey. And yeah, that's basically me in a nutshell.
Okay, yeah, so interesting. So I'm sure the viewers are well acquainted now and they know the people that are talking to us. And yeah, definitely, yours, Caleb Unego. As always, you already know more about me. So we're going to go directly into the discussion today. So we're talking about a Zambia of the creatives, and definitely we're looking at it from the STEM perspective, the STEM agenda itself. So we're really going to be talking about a lot of things relating to STEM, but we're looking at that creativity part. So, gents, the first question that I would be posing to you guys, because definitely I want to get more information from you. You guys being in third year, and Hamlet talking of India, those are highly technical schools, and yeah, exposed to a lot of things. Kalonde, a graduate already, with that skill and ability to influence and to just give that knowledge to the youths out there and just to encourage them. So maybe the first question that will be dropping is, what really is creativity? When we talk about this Zambia of the creatives, what are we talking about? What is creativity really? Yeah, in a nutshell. So I don't know who picks it up first, but yeah, I think that would be the first question.
I think Hamlet can take it first.
All right. For me, according to me, creativity is simply being able to be original with whatever innovation that you embark on, whatever you plan on doing. As long as you're original, you are unique, that is creativity. You are able to create something new. Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
Kalonde.
For me, I would say creativity is allowing your original self to have a degree of madness. That's how I define creativity. Because for you to be creative, I think you have to be able to exceed the norms of what society is valuing to be normal. Because even if we had to look from history, the Galileo or the Newtons, they had a certain level of madness. And when you're looking at creativity, you have to think above what everyone else is thinking. So for me, I feel like creativity is allowing your original self to have a certain degree of madness. That is what creativity is for me.
Yeah, interesting stuff.
Just I don't know what my brother said. Yeah. In short, you must be someone who is able to think outside the box.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be someone who is thinking like the way everyone else is thinking to be creative.
True. Yeah, and I very much agree with what you guys are saying, especially part of like the madness part, and where I say allowing yourself to be true to yourself, exceeding that limit where your brain stops to think, and then maybe you just say, there's this thing that is known as elastic limit, Hooke's law. I think some physics concept that we did back in school, but yeah. So there's a level that we need to reach as human beings, and just think of insane things. I get inspired when I look at people like Elon Musk, this is a guy that has never done, he's never done aerospace engineering, but this guy is a creative. That's a perfect example of a creative. This guy just thinks outside the box, and then he says, I can assemble such things, and then he brings people on board that have got that ability. And I very much agree with that you guys have said, which is very interesting. And now the question comes in is, can we really see Zambians rise to those creativity levels? Or maybe I would say the question is, do you know of Zambian creatives that are changing the world through STEM, like Zambians that are truly contributing, to STEM through their, their creative abilities, their innovative abilities? And yeah, if you do, or maybe if we do not have such Zambians, what really should we do to raise a generation of Zambians that will be creative and bring about a huge revolution in terms of science and the STEM space in our country?
I think this one, my brother can start first.
Okay.
Kalonde.
I think for me, I think I have a number of friends that I know. I have Thompson Tumanda. He's an electrical engineering student in Turkey with me. There is Geoffrey Kandu. Then I have also Mukuwe. Then there is also Muma from England also. So we have a number of people who are, trying as much as they can to make a certain move in the times of creativity. But when you're looking at people from home, there's also another friend of mine in Ghana. We're working with him because I have two startups that I'm working with. I'm working with Inter Business Corporation. Then there's another fintech company that we're working on, which the name is Creepier. So I think we are trying to do what we can, but the only example that I can give is you cannot be able to plant a tree on cement. It wouldn't grow. So one of the reasons why it's very difficult for creatives to grow, I feel like the whole environment in Zambia does not help us to grow. We are not appreciated. So that is why we're finding that the majority of people who are really smart, just like have you said, Elon Musk, he grew up in South Africa, but where did he have to go for him to blow up? He had to go to America. So I don't necessarily feel like it's a Zambian problem. I think it's a continental problem. So, but those are the few people that I know who are trying as much as they can. They're amazing creative people. And not only even in the creatives, basically in the science, but there are also other few friends of mine that are trying to do as much as they can.
Interesting.
Okay, for me, I have a few friends of mine, and you, Caleb Munemo, being one of them, like this is an initiative which you came up. This is an idea that you thought out of the box. You had to think out of the box and say, okay, let me come up with this and try to, improve the STEM standards in Zambia. So there's also Genius Education Zambia. It was started by a friend of mine, actually a sister to a friend of mine. It has been doing quite well. They've been going to schools, they've been organizing fairs, they've been doing all sorts of things. They even have learning platforms, e-learning platforms. Basically, everything that you have been doing, as says, they've also been doing. So
great.
These are like the two examples that I can give that who have seen that are doing something. I also have a couple of friends from other countries as well. I have a friend of mine in the United States. Although he did not, it's not a STEM company that he created, but at least he's trying to do something. He did something. As what my friend said, in Zambia, it's very hard for you to make it. Like it's very hard. You find that most of the funding, it doesn't go into education. Most of the funding goes into things that, like roads which you can't even see, buildings and those sorts of things. If you remember, the government had introduced the Youth Empowerment Fund. I don't know if that's what they called it, but they introduced that. And I would I don't know, but I can say that there's no one who there's no one who had like an innovative idea, like from the STEM category, who got part of that money. Most of the people who are getting that money are people from the music industry, already made companies. Yeah. So all those things are what like bring us down as a country. Yeah. My friend already said it's a continental problem. It's not only in Zambia, it's everywhere in Africa. Yeah, and that's something that we need to change. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys actually spitting facts and the truth. And I love the part where you talk about this being a continental problem, and you raised a very good point saying the youth empowerment funds. We don't want to be political and we won't touch that. But I believe the people that have got creative ideas, but I think one problem that I have seen is apart from that, I think we've just neglected the science space and STEM space in this country because, trust me, there are people that have got good ideas. For example, like the programs that we do at SAYS, it only takes maybe injection of a few resources. It couldn't even be money, but certain platforms, certain things that will just equip us and give us more room.
Networks.
Schools, networks going to schools, because what we want is to communicate that STEM knowledge to the young ones, So you find that you can make proposals, you can write letters to these higher guys, but one problem that I realize is that we've not taken this thing seriously, and we've just become dependent on the technology that we import. Our technology, okay, we're cool with importing technology. We don't want to reach a level where we say, okay, maybe let's also try to reach these limits. Let's try to bring one thing. Let's be creative in this sense. It's shocking that in this country, there are certain things that we don't make. Things like slippers, razor blades. Those are things that we should be doing on our own. But it's shocking that we're at the level where we can't even do such things. So there are a lot of things that are wrong, but yeah, we are the people that can change these things. And 10 years from now, 15 years from now, someone's going to be maybe listening to this podcast when we have that revolution and say Kalonde and Hamlet and Caleb seated one day on a virtual meeting and discussed things that are contributing now to the growth of this country. So I believe we're the ones to definitely take us forward. No one is going to take us forward, and sitting down and saying no, that's really not going to help us again. Yeah, so James, let me not speak much because I believe this is your platform. So again, there's this other question, and this is going to be the last question, and I'm going to sort of allow you guys to maybe bring on board what you feel should be touched as we come to conclude. How do we create Zambia full of creatives and problem solvers? Like how do we create a Zambia, or how do we create an environment where we have people that are creative and people that can be able to solve complex problems? We're not just thinking about minor problems, but complex problems bring about a breakthrough. So how do we do that? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we've all seen the way Ronaldo, Messi, and these other great footballers are playing the game of soccer. Yeah. Those people started at a very young age. True. They didn't just start at the age of maybe 20. They started a long time ago. Yeah. So even when they were starting, they knew that this is what I want to do, and I'll make sure I accomplish this. And in order to accomplish what they planned, they made sure they joined some academies. You get? So this is something that I would want the Zambian government to do. Like they should set up centers in each and every province. They should set up centers where people with ideas can go and pitch in their ideas, and okay, this is what, even a small child can go and pitch in an idea. Okay, this is what I want to do. I want to grow with you. I want you to nurture me. I want you to mold me. Yeah. So one way is creating centers like STEM, a STEM center, STEM organization. Just like you have created SAYS, but you need a headquarter. You need a place of where you can actually bring your ideas together to make some things. You get. And then another thing is this thing of jets in schools needs to be taken seriously. I remember my time when I was a student at David Kalonde. Jets, okay, it was serious, but it was not that serious. You get. You find that students only come when it's near when it's time for the fair, or maybe next week there's a fair. Students, that's when they'll start coming. Okay, I have a project. I have a project.
Olympiads.
Olympiads. That's when the guys will be coming. No, I have a project. And then you find that due to the fact that they were not very serious, they were not practicing, they were not studying for the Olympiads, you find that they don't actually do well. So in schools, we need to make sure that the teachers, sometimes, in schools, they don't even have patrons or matrons for the same clubs. They are neglected.
That's true.
And then the government can also set up, like during fairs, they need to make sure that the people who do well, who do exceedingly well, given something tangible, like, maybe you are given a lot of money. Because I was very disappointed to see some of my friends receiving only a book. Someone has represented the province is receiving a book.
A book and 200
that was very
kwacha.
bad. A book and that's nothing. So I think the government needs to change on that. They need to do something. They need to empower, like they need to motivate. Because the reason why you do those things is to motivate people. Now, if people are not seeing the motivation, then how are you going to get a Zambia of the creative without any motivation? So,
Okay, interesting. Kalonde.
Okay. Creativity is a very complex ideology. And I feel like it's almost impossible to teach someone to be creative, because it's either you have it or you don't. Because those are one of the things that are really hard for people. That is why you find that for somebody who is into innovation, they make a lot of money, because not many people are able to think in the patterns that they think in. So for me, I feel like the problem that we have, especially in Zambia or in Africa, I feel like the education system teaches us what to think, not how to think, because they'll teach you on what to think about. So for you to be creative, you don't necessarily have to know what to think about. If you learn on how to think about certain, situations, then you'd be able to become much more creative. And then for me, I was lucky enough, like in high school, I used to participate a lot in debates and also the Jets. And I remember we once won the national competition, and also for the Jets, we made a project with a friend of mine. But then the problem with the Jets that I feel, it's a very wonderful competition, but then there is no progression. Because I feel that if somebody who is under the creatives, if they make something, they have to be given a scholarship to go to university. That's at the minimum.
Exactly.
Because of what point would it be for somebody to think so well, right? They do something, they research all their hard work, and then it just ends for them when they end their grade 12. Because the majority of friends of mine, even the project that we made with a friend of mine, it just ended there. There's no continuation whatsoever. Then I came here to Turkey, and the education system is completely different. So what happens is the competitions that they have, they're going to nurture you, they're going to fund them, they're going to give you everything that you need. And even in the science themselves, you're going to find that they're highly funded. And for me, coming here was like heaven for me, because I like thinking about different things. So you find that when you come up with an idea, you go to a lecturer and ask them to say, okay, I'm thinking about this. You find them, okay, how can we go to do this, And then when I look at back home, you look at many intelligent people, but do you have the people who are going to mentor them? So that is one problem. The problem could be the education system. The other problem is you and I. Are we having enough time to mentor the younger ones? Because success without a successor is never true success. So you might find that people who are creative, they're done with school, but who is coming after you? Have you laid a foundation for them to actually do better? I remember I like reading a lot. I don't know if you've heard of Thomas Sankara, the former president of Burkina Faso.
Yeah, Thomas Sankara.
So what he did in his system, he included some sort of a pioneers group where these guys were taught philosophy, they were taught politics at a very young age. So imagine a scenario where students are taught science in a way that is going to motivate them to do better. And another problem also, I hope I'm not talking too much, is I understand, right? Teaching is something that is very good, right? But then I feel like the criteria at which teachers are picked in our country is horrendous. It's terrible, because we're finding a scenario where somebody who didn't do so well in sciences or mathematics is now going to go back into those high schools and is going to be teaching them chemistry, physics, and biology, or even mathematics. And whatever the teacher is going to teach, the student is almost impossible for them to exceed the teacher's intelligence. So I feel like we need to look at ways where we're having much more intelligent people with good analytical thinking who are creative, then they get into teaching. Now, the problem is teaching respected in our country? So those things are also a problem. There's not investment in the country. There's no investment in education. And without education, there's nowhere where you're going to go. And if you look at other continents, or maybe let's say China, they do so well in sciences. But for us in Africa, we are only happy when a child is preaching in front of the church. That's what we're proud in. You know? So, so I feel like there has to be a tremendous change in the way that we think, because I feel that's where the problem is. We are looking at a situation terribly, and the governments in Africa, they are running some sort of kleptocracy or kind of capitalism. So basically, this means that the people who get money are the people who are influenced by political leaders or political systems. And for me, who only loves science, who doesn't like politics, I'm not going to be appreciated. So creativity is not going to be much. So I feel if these things I've mentioned that have bubbled up here and about, I think it's going to be very difficult. It might take 20 or 20, 50, 30 years somewhere there for us to do everything, because we need a foundation, not where we come up with an idea, it's just a short-term achievement and then we forget about everything. It has to be a long-term plan, basically maybe a 10-year plan that we have to follow strictly, a right foundation, because you cannot build a 3-story building in a foundation, build only for a 1-story house, So it has to be a long-term plan that has to revolutionize the way we think as Africans and even as Zambians, because I feel there are many intelligent people who can, be able to invent many things. Yeah,
true. I love the part that, the fact that you guys have emphasized both on the foundation and, when MIT developed Scratch. I don't know if you guys know Scratch. Scratch is a programming language that is used, to build, some sort of games. So this programming language is mostly exposed to the young ones. And what I've realized is that, I've seen countries that are doing that, and I've actually seen quite a few Zambians that are also trying to, incorporate that type of culture where students are exposed to programming languages while they're young, so you shape their thinking, like exposing them to things that are sort of, fascinating, because a child is going to be surprised when he just drags, blocks, and then he realizes that he's able to make a Sudoku. Is it Sudoku? Those type of games that you play in those small phones, Sudoku, snake game, and where you're building blocks and stuff. Those they use such programming languages as Scratch. And there's this other programming language that I saw. It was posted by Mark Zuckerberg a few days ago. So yeah, very much agree with what you guys are saying. The foundations are very poor. If you talk about JETS, these are things that I've been talking about with a lot of people. And people would say, no, just criticizing JETS, maybe we're being political, but people don't see it in that perspective. JETS is dead. That's just the truth. And it's not me trying to make it look bad or something. Imagine someone works hard, just like you put it. Maybe you've been working on that project like 3 hours. It's sort of, maybe you're doing university research work and you just a grade 12, and then they just give you a book and a 200 kwacha, and it ends there. That's the worst part. And what I've heard now is there's this sponsor known as JICA. So what they do is those ideas that you guys take at JETS, those ideas are just combined. There's this JICA. It's the official sponsor for JETS.
JICA, like Japanese company or something?
Yes, that same Japanese company. What it does, I hear that
it's even people from Japan who are coming to get ideas.
Exactly. Exactly.
Brain drain.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's a time I was reading that same JICA book, and I was like, so that's what these guys are doing. And we can talk about a lot of things, but we just have to, improve. But the foundation is very bad. It's wrecked, and I think we can change it. So, gents, I think we're coming to an end of our first episode of the podcast. So I don't know if you have a few last words to say Otherwise, it's been interesting. So let's not finish things for the coming meetings, but it's really going to be an interesting journey in this podcast. The energy has been unreal. I've really liked almost everything that has happened. So I don't know if you've got few last words before we end today's podcast.
Yeah, I think, I just want to thank you for the opportunity. It's this, what you have started is something that has been lacking in Zambia, actually. Yeah, like sensitizing people about the advantages of STEM, why they should pursue STEM courses. It's something that happens in a lot of developed countries. And I believe if we continue on the same path, we might be able to, do something big and be able to, change the way Zambians think, the way Zambians perceive STEM courses. Yeah. Otherwise, STEM courses, these are the courses which are going to, change the world. These are the courses responsible for changing the world, actually.
True.
Yeah.
True. Kalonde.
Natasha Mukuwe pa Twitter. I'm really thankful for the opportunity, really.
Yeah, true, that's true.
Time here and there, because the way education is so we'll be waiting on you. It's a really humbling experience to be here with you and Hamlet. I'm really grateful for this opportunity, really.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm very much thankful that you guys agreed to come on this, this podcast. I've actually been having some podcasts in recent times, but it's been months since I had a podcast with, the guys where we get to talk about things. Yeah, because the only podcast that's running on our YouTube channel right now is the High School Hub, which is hosted by, Louis. She's very good at that, but so I thought and said, okay, let's just revamp this thing. Let's also start the Zambia the Creatives. Otherwise, I'm very much thankful. You guys have got busy schedules, because with Hamlet it's almost 24 now. It's already Tuesday, and so you guys coming here was just something massive, and I believe there are a lot of collaborations coming. There are a lot of things that are coming. The more things that we're going to be engaging on, apart from the podcast, I'm sure Kalonde is going to be in Zambia soon, and I'm sure Hamlet is going to be in Zambia in the next 2 years as well. So there are a lot of things that we will do. It's not only about SAYS, but it's about us as citizens of this country trying to bring about what we want to see, a better blueprint to this country in terms of the STEM agenda, in the STEM spaces. So guys, thank you very much once again. And to the viewers, it's been Caleb Nemo, Kalonde, and Hamlet. Thank you very much for watching. Till next time.